I've been around the Giants for more than half a century, and that's a long, long time. And it occurs to me that I need to tell you some things you don't know about, things that happen off the field with this club. For example, like the day, 2 days before the Super Bowl against Buffalo, when Parcells thought, well, they're letting down a little bit. I don't know what it is. We got to pick this team up. So he calls over Lawrence Taylor. He says, Lawrence, start a fight. And Lawrence looks at him and says, I said start a fight. So Lawrence goes over. He punches Jumbo Elliott. People are grabbing each other. And Belichick says, don't you think we should jump in? And Parcells says, soon, soon. Elliott played a terrific game in that Super Bowl. Then there was a time the Giants were not responding, and Leonard Marshall was looking away during a halftime talk. I don't know exactly what he was doing. Bill Parcells picks up the locker room garbage can, dumps it on top of Marshall as they're leaving. They're leaving to go back. Go on, get out there with the rest of the garbage. Marshall played a terrific second half. You all know that Lawrence Taylor broke his ankle against San Francisco. Crucial game, important game, and they didn't know whether he was even going to be able to play. They had to play Philadelphia. They had to beat Philadelphia, which they did not do. So somebody tells Lawrence, and the word is out, there's a horse remedy called DSMO, and they rub it on the area. And Warren Moon, who was a quarterback up in Canada, had used it, but it smelled. They moved the huddle. They separated 10 guys from him by 2 feet in the huddle because they couldn't get near Moon. Ronnie Barnes is telling me this story, and he says, let me tell you, Taylor, he thinks he's slick. He's got a doctor himself. He was talking to Sims today, and he said to Sims, you got to get some of this DSMO, because Sims had a problem too. And Sims told me, asked me, what do you think of DSMO? I mean, Lawrence Taylor told you. I said, oh, you're supposed to be the smartest guy on the team. You're supposed to be the quarterback, and you're going to listen to Dr. Lawrence Taylor? So Sims laughed and walked away. Now Barnes says to me, you watch, tomorrow he's going to rub that crap on him, and he's coming in here. I'm down there. He comes in the next day, and Barnes goes, you can smell it the minute the door opens. He says, Lawrence, where did you double park the horse? Well, as you can see, a lot of good things happen that you don't get to hear about. Sam Huff, tough guy, really tough, goes to his rookie camp. He's up there, and he can't take it anymore. He leaves. He calls a cab. He goes to the train station. He says, I'm leaving. They find out about it. They send Tom Landry, who then was a playing coach, down to talk to him. Because the other coach, the other assistant coach, was Lombardi, and you know Lombardi would not have whispered gentle things in his ear. So Landry goes down there and he says, Sam, you got a great career ahead of you. This team loves you. All you got to do is come back, listen, you're going to be a superstar. And Sam looks at him and says, I'll come back only on one condition. The big tough guy looks down, he looks up, he says, you got to make Vince Lombardi stop screaming at me. They did for a little while. I mean, you know Vince, so it didn't really take all that long. Now I got to tell you about the biggest scam ever pulled by the Giants. This goes way back to the 30s. Wellington Maris, I don't know, he's at Fordham, but he's the player personnel director. He goes to his dad and he says, there's a center linebacker, because they played 2 ways in those days, out at University of Washington. We got to sign this guy. His name is Mel Hein. So Tim tells, old Tim, who is the father, the grandfather, and the founder of the franchise, tells the secretary, send this guy a letter in the standard contract. And for some reason, she goes to lunch and whatever else. The letter doesn't go out till the next day. Wellington calls Hein and he says, did you get the contract? Did you sign it? He said, I hate to tell you this. He said, but the Redskins contract came yesterday and I hadn't heard from you, so I signed it. Maris just totally depressed. He goes to his father and tells him what happened. He said, do you mean the Boston Redskins? Because that's where they were at the time. He said, yes. And old Tim, the legal bookmaker, the politician, the man about New York who knew everybody, don't worry about it. The Democrats are in. Don't worry about it. He calls the postmaster up in Providence, Rhode Island. He says, you got a letter coming through today or tomorrow from Washington, Walla Walla or wherever it was. What about the letter? It's somebody's doing something unethical involving a contract. He said, just get, you guys, I'll put it in the dead letter office. Hein signs. George Preston Marshall, the owner of the Boston Redskins, never hears from Hein. And Mel Hein becomes one of the greatest players in the entire history of the Giants franchise. So sometimes it's not who you play, it's who you know.